Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA 5 video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new weapons that are going to be coming to Grand Theft Auto Online as a part of the Arena War DLC update. So that's right, Rockstar did add some new guns in this update. They're very sci-fi inspired, as you'll see in a little bit. And we don't really know when these are going to be coming out. Apparently the Up and Atomizer, which is one of the weapons we'll be talking about today, is supposed to be released over Christmas, but there's been no confirmation of that yet from Rockstar. Now, once again, I want to give a big thank you to my friends Frost, Purple Ninja, and Nord for helping me record this. We actually had a ton of fun during this session messing around with these weapons and some of the hijinks we were pulling off, but big thanks to them. They lent their time to help me record, and I wouldn't be able to do this video without them, so thank you to them. So speaking of the Up and Atomizer, let's begin with that. It is our cheapest of the weapons today. So this is a pistol. All of these weapons will be purchased from the ammunition store for $399,000. That is the price of the Up and Atomizer. Now, the only thing you're able to change on the Up and Atomizer is the sort of beam itself that you actually shoot out. And let's actually discuss the weapons for yourself. So the gun is going to stay like this default blue, but you can see that, for me, I have the 3 or 4 yellow rings. That's what you can change. You can change the color from white to yellow to red to orange, purple, pink, normal colors like that. So to give you guys the long story short on this weapon, it's basically like a $400,000 stun gun and firework launcher combination. So none of the weapons we're going to be talking about today have any magazine. You don't have to reload. And in this case, in the Up and Atomizer, there's no ammo at all. That's why I said it functions like a stun gun. You guys see the little bar up in the top? Every time you fire, that decreases, and you sort of have to wait for it to reload. So you can only fire a certain number of these shots per minute. Now, what exactly does it do? Well, it sort of sends out a force push out of the gun itself. I don't really know how to describe it. It doesn't inflict actual damage, but instead it is just sort of like a kinetic shockwave. It's actually kind of cool. Now, this weapon can inflict damage even if you don't hit the person. If you aim at the ground or if you hit around them, it'll send them flying in the air, but it won't necessarily kill them. So I guess the right term for that would be splash damage, although it's not really explosive, but it does have a larger radius than you ultimately think. Now, as far as the lock-on range for this weapon goes, I think it's 25 meters, so it's actually pretty short. Now, it does have a little bit of a longer range than that. It's about 125 meters. Now, I'll actually show you guys on the map where we've sort of started to lose range, and you guys can see it's about the width of one of these hangars. So that gives you a good idea of basically how far you can use this. It does not have unlimited range, and it certainly doesn't have unlimited lock-on potential, but you don't lose any damage over the range. It does the same amount of damage up close as it would from, 100 meters away per se. So I think this weapon is really cool. A lot of people are going to be worried about this being overpowered. I think the answer to that is no. It is not going to be overpowered at all. But yes, if you do hit someone with this weapon, obviously you're going to be able to inflict a lot of damage with them. But if you miss even once, you're in a world of trouble. And good luck taking on multiple enemies with this. I'd say the big benefit here is you're never going to have to worry about ammo. And it is really cool, being able to shoot this shockwave out. And another thing this weapon is pretty good at is inflicting damage to vehicles. It's really fun to shoot vehicles with this thing. And eventually it does end up destroying it. And that's why I'm saying it's sort of like a hybrid of the firework launcher and the stun gun. Because the firework launcher will eventually do damage to vehicles, just like this will. And it sort of has that reload feature of the stun gun too. So that right there is the Up and Atomizer. It is the first new weapon that is going to be coming to the game. I'm really excited for this. Again, we don't know when it's coming out, but apparently Rockstar will be giving this away for free over Christmas. So I would imagine that over the next week or two, maybe 10 days, we'll actually see this be added into Grand Theft Auto Online. So that's our first weapon today. In case you're curious about the name, the Up and Atomizer, there's a restaurant in-game called Up and Atom Burger, which is a parody of In-N-Out Burger in real life. So that's where they get the name from, Up and Atomizer. Again, it's pretty cool. Let's move on to the next weapon today, and that is the Unholy Hellbringer, which is in the SMG category. It is $449,000, which is quite expensive for a weapon. So it's in the SMG category. It's basically like a glorified PDW that you never have to reload. Now, the only thing you can change with this weapon is like the color of the gun itself. You cannot change the laser. So the laser that's coming out of this is going to be 100% red. And my experience from this is it's kind of an okay weapon. It takes about 3 or 4 or 5 shots to kill someone, but its recoil and its spread is really bad. I mean, maybe that's because it's an SMG and that's what it's supposed to be. But I'm telling you, if you guys get this thing at range, it is really hard to hit people. And it has the exact same range as the Up and Atomizer as well. I think it's about 125 meters, and then you can't end up hitting anyone. And as I mentioned earlier, you don't have to reload this weapon. As long as you have ammo for it, which you can have the maximum amount of ammo, you won't actually have to reload. And there's no like cooldown either. Like one of the games I played when I was growing up, it was Halo. You had like plasma pistols, plasma rifles, and they function sort of the same way where you could fire them almost unlimitedly until they overheated. You don't experience that in GTA Online. They don't overheat or anything like that. They don't start to break down. You just simply fire them until you run out of ammo, which I guess is kind of cool. There's also no upgrades to it as well. There's no sights. There's no silencers or anything like that. It's just a normal gun that you can change sort of the color of the skin. The laser is still going to remain red. So that is our second weapon today. We don't have any idea on when this is going to be coming out. If I had to take a wild guess, I would say 2019. And our final weapon today is one I know a lot of you guys are going to be excited about. That is the Widowmaker. It is under the heavy type of weapon, so where your minigun is, where your RPG, and that is $499,000. Making it one of the most expensive weapons in the game. So the Widowmaker is essentially a reskinned minigun. That is what I have noticed. So since it's a reskinned minigun, it basically functions the exact same way. You basically just hold down the trigger and you fire. And it shoots out these beams of red light all over the place, which is kind of cool. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind here is we tested to see if maybe the Widowmaker had a little bit of a faster like shooting time. You guys know the minigun has to sort of like charge up for a second, and I couldn't tell if the Widowmaker was any faster or not. It felt like it was maybe a split second faster, but we couldn't really confirm that from the simple test that we were doing in this video. Either way, they're both very, very close to each other. Another similarity with the minigun is you run and you walk at the same speed. Fun fact you might not have known about, the minigun is the only weapon in the game that will slow you down when holding it. And it has the exact same effect. So the Widowmaker and the minigun will both slow you down respectively. And other than that, that's pretty much it. Again, it has the same range as the Unholy Hellbringer and the Up and Atomizer, where if you reach a certain distance, the bullets will just sort of like disappear in thin air. I should say the lasers will disappear in thin air. So the range is pretty short here. Definitely don't have unlimited range. And it's basically just a reskinned minigun. There's not a whole lot to say about this weapon. So if we add up the prices of all of these weapons, the Up and Atomizer, which is $399,000, the Widowmaker, which is $499,000, and the Unholy Hellbringer, which is $449,000, our grand total is $1,287,000 for these three weapons. And that does not include ammo that you're going to have to buy, at least for the Widowmaker and Unholy Hellbringer. And it does not include any customization that you might be doing, like changing up the atom rings or the paint jobs that you can have on the Widowmaker and Unholy Hellbringer. So pretty expensive, to say the least, for those three weapons right there. And at the end of the day, none are really all that overpowered or better than anything else we already have. I mean, the Widowmaker is literally just the minigun, nothing different right there. The Unholy Hellbringer is just sort of like a wild spray and pray SMG, and the Up and Atomizer is more of like a fun trolley weapon rather than anything seriously that would affect PvP combat. So I don't think any of these are going to be super overpowered. I think you're going to see a lot of people utilizing them at first. My favorite one is by far the Up and Atomizer. I feel like it's the most unique. I feel like it has the coolest effect, and you can do some really fun stuff like bopping people and vehicles up in the air by shooting it. So that's the one that I'm most looking forward to. Thankfully, it looks like that's going to be coming out first over Christmas, whereas the Widowmaker and Unholy Hellbringer look to be arriving probably in 2019. And I mentioned this earlier, but all of these will be available to purchase at the Ammu-Nation store. None of them seem to be locked behind any adversary modes. The reason you might assume that is because of their sci-fi inspired theme, which doesn't really have anything to do with Arena War. It kind of almost makes you wonder where these weapons came from. Did they come from a scrapped single-player DLC that was around aliens? Potentially. Is this something that was maybe supposed to come out in the Doomsday Heist but was scrapped, or maybe Rockstar needed more work on it? We're not too sure, but none of them have any, like, play this adversary mode to unlock this weapon requirement. You can just, when they arrive, you can go get them, which is pretty neat. Again, I'd say the only downside with all these weapons is they're very expensive. They are more expensive than a lot of the vehicles in-game, but it's 2018, it's 2019, it's Rockstar. I mean, what else do you expect? But anyways, that's all the information that I've got for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating on this video. That'd be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA and Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.